out goes the powerhouse, and the COVID-19-Man has come to deliver you from the empty land, from the ones who have been silenced to the promised land of the Alef Bet, which is the original place for the soul of a man, where he can now get his jubilee and abide safe like he's never been, in the power of the Father, in the powerhouse, cause that's what Word Electric, Davar Electric, in the Alef Bet we're connected. Word Electric, Davar Electric, in the powerhouse we're connected. Truth in the Torah where it is, that's right. And whether you like it or not, I just don't give a damn, cause in this thing the end is gonna be for sure. It's got a date before the song began to score. This ain't no lie, we about to fly, cause in the truth there's nothing that can be denied. Here's the COVID-19-Man is hooking you up to the Alef Bet, to the powerhouse with you waving. The COVID-19-Man is gonna hook you up, cause that's what Word Electric, Davar Electric, in the Alef Bet we're connected. Word Electric, Davar Electric, to no one else I'm genuflecting. Word Electric, Davar Electric, to the powerhouse I'm connected. And then I want to get your power back, cause you will find in there the powerhouse not scared. You won't be silenced, nobody can touch what you will find in there. Gets to cut the masking back of lies. The righteous now they cries, cause the COVID-19 is gonna hook you up to the powerhouse. Live the power show, ride this mule around. Welcome to HDTV 28, Adabarim Torah Volt 613. Welcome once again to HDTV 28, Hadabarim Torah Volts 613, where volts stand for valued, optimized, tender, legal tender surplus. This is the economy of the Alef Bet, where you are your own money. Welcome to HDTV 28. Right. And hello once again, my fellow Davarians. I'm going live today on Tuesday, the day before the big inauguration takes place. And I'm going to be commenting on Psalm 46 as we face the day of the 46th president. And what a suitable. And I've been talking about, this 14-day interval from the 6th until now. So I'm incorporating all kinds of stuff into this message here today. So finally, I'm glad that I have the channel running, and that we have this going on. So we can share this with each other here. And I have this situation that is developing, so I can see this. Let me put this. Yeah, this is a way of keeping track of this. Let me put it here. They won't interfere. I'm rearranging the way YouTube sends me there. The way can I view my screen? So that's very interesting how he does it. In any case, I see that, and now. All right. Let me, got my guitar ready, so let me take it to, all right, so, okay, I can see that, I gotta check everything is in tune, the microphone is running, all right, I want to see, I invited some people to join me from Facebook. Let's see if anybody gets the message. All right. All right. All right. Perfect. All right. Let me take you to one of my main screens here. All right. To the Yeah, I'm going to take you to the observatory. All right. All right, so this is one of my observatories that I like to put on because, you know, we're always being watchful here in the Torah, looking at the times in which we live in and understanding that we are secure in the Alef Bet. So this is a very interesting situation that we're facing right now. You know, as tomorrow is to be the inauguration of the 46th President of the United States. You know, and there's a lot of controversy going on around this election, as you are well aware of. You know, and thank God for all the people that belong to the army or whatever, because if they were not for them, that president will have no public there. At least the police will be there. So, you know, you can count on that to create a little audience. So we'll see, you know, the situation that we're in. So that's how we are. And all right, let me take you to my other observatory because I like to see a little bit of the mountains today. All right, and oh, he's showing me. Earlier, he wasn't showing me anything here with the Psalms, yeah, but now he does. Okay, let me see if I can take this down. All right, give me a second. The Psalm 46 that we're going to talk about today. We're going to go up here. Yeah. Let me see if let's lower this. All right, let me see if I can put this one over here. All right, let me take you to this screen. All right, I'm going to sing this first. Heaven on Earth is called. And so I'm going to be meditating on different verses from the Psalms, singing different verses from the Psalms, or inspiration from the Psalms, and also going over the verse, chapter 46 as well. So I chose this from Psalm 121, verses 1 to 2, God's Word, translation there, GW there. Look, it says, look up toward the mountains. Where can I find help? It says, I look up, see, I can get over here. I look up toward the mountains. Where can I find help? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. In the Bible, when it talks to mountains and hills, refers to hills, and a mountain refers to cities that are on top of the chain of running the world. You know, that they're very well known and they're running everything, so it refers to them. And so in this situation here, referring, you know, to that verse, I look up toward the mountains. You know, I look up to the big cities that have an influence upon the world, upon the big empires that are supposed to be solidly running the world. Where can I find help? And then he asks, where can I find help? And then verse 2 answers that, my help comes from the Lord, from Adonai, the maker of heaven and earth. All right? So then we understand that, and then this song is an invitation to make us see what we are all capable of being in the Davar, in the Word of God. You know, and so here it's called Heaven and Earth. Heaven and Earth is the one telling us. In this song, it's like Heaven and Earth is telling us, recommending that we watch the Davar and see what the Davar can do in us to express the magnitude of what Heaven and Earth contained. So if you pay attention, it's a very interesting song. So I wrote the words and melody by Zach Castro. That's who your servant here. Okay, so let's see here. Let me see. You may trust the mountain because it's tall. It is little more. It's my only love. I'm not bound to look at what you see, for in little more I am now made free. Heaven and earth, whom God has made, now tell me to see the our fashion sweet. Heaven and whom God has made, now tells me to see the Davar in me display the magnitude. Heaven and whom God has made, now tell me to see the Davar in me display the magnitude. You may trust the mountain 'cause it's tall, yet invisible in my own heart. And I'm bound to look at what you see, for invisible I am now made free. Heaven and whom God has made, now tell me to see the Davar in me display the magnitude. Heaven and whom God has made, now tell me to see the Davar in me display the magnitude. Though a brand to please you now competes, yet in the Davar Elohim complete. Why should I look at what others see when in this Davar who now fashions me? Heaven and whom God has made, now tell me to see the Davar in me display the magnitude. Heaven and whom God has made, now tell me to see the Davar in me display the magnitude. All right. So that's what we have there. Now let me take you from here, take it down. I'm going to take you to the other observatory we had at the beginning. All right. Now, on this one, let me put the scriptures here. All right. So, Psalm 46, which we're discussing today, is from the Complete Jewish Bible version. I also have the Authorized King James also, so we might switch back and forth. We'll see. But in this psalm here, we'll go to verse 1. I'm going to read it to you. It's very interesting because remember the thing is talking, fear showcases best your true deity, So that's what we're trying to understand. So fear showcases best your true deity. So we're trying to look at, what you fear the most, because fear, right away what you fear, it shows that, what you're loyal to. Because, you don't want to lose whatever it is, fear of losing something, and that you think, and then I fear losing something, then you see that you have attached certain value to something, and if you lose it, then there goes your world, there goes everything, you're lost. So one of the things that are happening right now with all the pandemic, the viruses, and all the lockdowns and everything that's going on is that people fear that they're losing their liberties and their freedoms, okay? because everything is based upon the external circumstances of everything outside their own body of flesh. All right? But when you have already secure yourself in the Torah, in the Alef Bet, and that's your economy to reveal the mindset of your maker, you run on different, on different set of rules. Your city is your whole universe is the Torah. So that is not affected. Only the people that have an external existence, because if you don't have an internal one with the Torah and the Alef Bet, you're bound to just follow an external existence. That's the way that you're cast out from paradise. To have an internal existence with the Torah and to be in the economy of revealing your maker, that's the internal existence. That's paradise. You're in your Garden of Eden, okay? And then because you were made to be in the mindset of your maker. But when you're cast out of it, you're not in the Torah, you're cast out of the mindset of the maker, then you have to attach yourself to an external garden, which is the retarded garden that the mulectic economies have created, the mule. The manpower upheld lame economies. Lame because he cannot procreate itself, right? He needs manpower. So, as we work on that, I'm bringing you here to understand this. So this is what we're going to be reading here. That's what we sing in the song. I'm going to connect it in a minute. Okay? But here we go. Verse 1. God is our refuge and strength and ever-present help in trouble. He is our refuge, the place, our hiding place, and strength and fortification. Okay? So our refuge, okay, is a place where you hide like a shelter, and strength. Okay? So what do we have there? We have the Beth and the Aleph. Okay? And the Alef Bet, because Aleph means strength. Aleph means strong. So God is my Beth and my Aleph, or my Alef Bet, because it's pronounced. Everything is there, my friend. So you need to understand this scenario here. Okay? Let me put it this way so I can read. Yeah, here we go. This is better. And so, So God is our refuge, our shelter, our place of hiding, and our strength. So that's a combination of the Beth and the Aleph. Okay? There's in Proverbs 18:10 says, the name of the Lord is a strong tower or a strong refuge. That's the way of saying it backwards. But there it goes, Aleph, strength, and refuge, or tower is Beth, it's a house. So as it says in Proverbs, 18, Proverbs 18, verse 10, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. That's Alef Bet right there for the alphabet. And so here, the psalm in the book of Psalms 46 says, God is our Beth and our Aleph, because Aleph stands for strength and power. So God is my house and my power. So the Alef Bet again, just say, a little and backwards, but still there. So the Alef Bet is right there in the beginning. And ever-present help in trouble. Because if you have the alphabet, you have the key by which you can solve anything. You can figure everything. The alphabet is the father and the founder of everything, because everything comes from a combination of the alphabet, a combination of the Alef Bet. So if you have that, if you are the man of letter and science that God wanted you to be in his mindset, you have it all figured out. You're not scared by anything because you're working in the mindset of your maker 24/7. That is your paradise, that's your place of being. But those that are not there have made the external world, something to rely upon. And so when they are threatened that they're losing their liberties to go out into this external world, or the liberties to just express themselves in the external world, then there goes. Then it shows. It shows all along that that's what you were worshiping. You were depending on it. Okay? But if those things were already, where you have made it non-essential, it will have no effect to you. I've been working from my house since 2011. I started in 2008. I was working in my house, but I was doing that part-time, and then I was working at night, as a newspaper carrier, throwing papers, doing a paper route. And that was 7 days a week. I had a route in Whittier and in Hacienda Heights, with the Tribune and the Whittier News that I used to throw, and I used to throw other newspapers. But during the daytime, I would work. So I had 2 jobs. And it started in 2008, when there was another bad time for the economy, and a lot of people lost their investments and the 401ks and the retirement, and a lot of people had their businesses go under. But that's the year that I got 2 jobs. I was making a lot of more money than before. So when things go under, I'm on a different economy. God is handling my situation. It doesn't seem to affect me, but that's when I started. But by 2011, I left the paper route. It was just too much work, and the car was just being messed up because you got to do a lot of driving. So I settled for just working from home. And since 2012, I just been working from home. And that is the year that they announced the end of the world by December and everything like that. I wasn't bothered one bit. So since that year, I have made it my lifestyle that I walk. Everywhere that I go, I walk. So I don't have to use a car. Eventually, I was able to buy some cars in 2017 at the end of it by 2018 because I started making so much money because of Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico. They had me working so much. I made a lot of money, so I bought a couple of cars, not even used for me. They were used for my son and somebody else that they needed vehicles, And I was paying for my son's car because he was going to, and he still has a car, But the thing is, I was making enough money to pay for the car, pay for the insurance and everything, and I still decided to stay home, and I walk around. That's my lifestyle. But that's something that I've chosen because the ways of the world, the things of the world are non-essential to me. I found my better way to find my health. Just very simplistic style of living. If I have extra money, I use it to help somebody else. That they might have a comfortable life in this world. But I settle for very little budget for myself because I have made the desired things that these economies that are from the retarded garden, I have made them non-essential. So when this is happening, a lot of people right now, this past year of 2020 and now going to 2021, you feel like, your freedoms are tied down, that you're bound. So you're no longer behaving like the land of the free and the home of the brave. You're finding out that you are in the land of the fearful and the home of the enslaved because you don't have wherewithal to answer the onslaught of news that's coming your way. And you feel trapped. You feel like you have nowhere to go because this has not been your choice. Like I made a choice that this is what I want to live my lifestyle. And so nothing that's happening in the world affects me because I already have chosen a lifestyle to be home. I've been staying just working from home since 2012. So I've started 8 years. I have 8 years of experience staying home more than you guys do. That was still started last year. Okay? But I enjoy that. That's my choice. That's my lifestyle. Not to complicate life, to make it simple for myself. And I have thrived in it. I have done a lot of things with living this style. I have accomplished a lot of things just by living at home because I have time to study the Torah, especially. That's why I love this job, because I can study the Torah, study the scriptures, and now that I gave into the Hebrew, I'm so grateful to have this job, And now that this economy is going under, a lot of calls are coming in, so I have a lot of overtime that I can choose from. So this is not affecting this job. This job is, recession proof. The more people get in trouble and they go, because I translate for the unemployment office, I translate for the food stamps office, I translate for hospitals, I translate, for insurance companies, I translate for financial institutions, I translate for government agencies. So everybody's busy dealing with everything. So I get the calls. So it's not like, so I don't have to worry. So God has me in a situation in which I don't have to worry about the job in that situation, And since I have been a man that has dedicated my life to fasting, that's how I discovered. Through fasting, I discovered that this body is so magnificent, it's so resilient, that it can live on so little, that you can make your life very simplistic, really, and not load yourself with a lot of burdens that are not really necessary, that all the world does. They just burden themselves with things like that. So, if God is your Alef Bet, you figure all these things out. In the alphabet, you find the best way to live for yourself and not to follow, the ways of the world. Because the thing is, this control did not came here upon this world, just out of the blue. This control of the governments have been coming in little by little. The way the government controls you, If they had told you already what to eat because you go to the supermarket or you buy the 600,000 products that they produce there, all strip of that being processed, that they being added stuff and then rich with vitamins, they say. So if you follow the pyramid guys of the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, which does nothing but weaken your system, you're going to be a candidate to all the major leading diseases: cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure. You're going to be right up there because the whole way they conduct everything is to create clients that will be in that situation, so we will depending on pharmacia, on the drugs. So this is a whole system. So if you're taking drugs that they are being prescribed, if you depend on the guy to go buy the stuff, all the food you buy from them, all of that, you're already being controlled in a big way, because a lot of people think, if I don't have insurance, I need to have coverage. I'm afraid to go visit any doctor because the doctors are not based upon health, natural cures for your body. They just want to give you some chemical. That's all they're trained, and it's not their fault. That's the whole training they have received. So I don't blame them for that. It's just that they go to the schools that are sponsored by the pharmaceutical companies anyhow. So of course they're going to be nothing but legalized dealers, pushers of these pharmaceutical companies for the different drugs. And that is, I don't blame it on them. They just wanted to get a good career, but that's how it's set up. Okay, so, but when you are in the Alef Bet, you learn all these things. And you walk away from all these suggestions of this so-called government. And so you don't follow their food pyramids. You don't depend on the insurances. You don't depend on anything. Your insurance is the fact that you follow the Torah, you eat kosher, your body doesn't get sick, and therefore everything is taken care of because you're following the Alef Bet that was originally given to you. So you are freed in many ways. But if you are following their diet, if you have the sicknesses that everybody else has, if you have diabetes, it's because you're already controlled by them. If you have high blood pressure, it's because you're already controlled by them. If you had a little cancer fight, you're already being controlled. The whole diet is modeled in such a way to make you sick. Okay? It's just the only way that they control you. You have to make you depend on them. It's part of the whole government. So everything affects from the way you eat. That's why the Torah tells you everything from how you should eat, but how you should behave in your environment, how you should deal with your fellow man, how you should treat the animals. Everything that has to do with that. So if you're in that economy, all the other economies of the world are non-essential. And that's why at this hour, I am the only way that what bothers me sometimes is that I have my friends, like you are my friends, but I see you, because you have not been in the Torah as long as I have, or you have not really taken it seriously. You know little verse in here and there, but has not made your entire life. The Alef Bet is what really consumes you. Therefore, these governments and all these economies of the world, all these products that this retarded garden makes are something that you still crave, that you think they are important. And now that this has come up upon the world, you feel the pressure. You feel like you are being, chained. You're not allowed to roam around as free as you wanted to, because that was your choice, was to just go out there, enjoy the theater, go out traveling whenever you want to, go all these things. That was the life that you had chosen, but that has been interrupted by this retarded economy. But all of this is part of the process of God trying to reveal, to you how much control they had over you for a long time anyhow. And now they're showing you the total control that they can exercise over you. Because that has been, the place where you had dwelled outside of the Garden of Eden, inside of you. With the Alef Bet, there's the Garden of Eden, the mindset of the Maker. That's your Garden of Eden. But you are being expelled from that. You are out of it. You are into this external world. And now you suffer the consequences. Are you feeling the fear? Because you have attached yourself. Your soul is attached to the externalities. And the externalities can be taken at any time. But when you have an inner core of existence, an inner economy is not bothered by this. And so that's what we're going to look at right now as we read that. So verse, let me see if I go here. Oh yeah, it's allowing me to show the cursor here. Good. Let me take this. So God is our refuge and strength, our Beth and the Aleph, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore, we are unafraid. No fear whatsoever. If you're fearful, it's because the Alef Bet has not guided you. You have not depended on the instructions of the Alef Bet and the Torah, to be your strength and to be your shelter and your hiding place, and the tower in which your soul resides, with prudent and wise guidance, so you will be able to rise above the world and not depend on their advice. Because the advice of the politicians is from a retarded garden, not from the resilient one that God created. So God is our refuge and strength, our Beth and the Aleph, and ever present help in trouble. Therefore we are unafraid. So even if the earth gives way, if everything goes under, even if the mountains tumble, mountains refers in the Bible to cities, great cities that have great power and dominion. But all of them are wearing the mask, right? All of them are following those little, a way of, quote unquote, protecting themselves. But it's nothing but showing that they are controlled. They are under control of the elite that are running, the bank industry, the Mishraim, the Egypt of the here and now at this moment. Because the bank industry, the elites of that are the new Egypt. Okay? And but if you are in the Torah, that is the universe for your soul. The Torah is everything that you depend on. You have been free from Mishraim already. You have been free from Egypt. Egypt has no sway. It has no influence upon you. Because you already have crushed your economy. You have made them non-essential by the way that you comport, by the way that you behave in this world. Okay? So, even if the earth gives way, because the earth, to understand, is everything that has to do with the way that the nations bring up their industries. Because that's the function of the earth, is to bring up plants. So, the retarded gardens bring up man-made plants. All right? So, they acquire the function of the earth, And so, but this earth, this man-made plants, sooner or later, like right now, these manufacturing companies, all these things are being stopped, are being put on hold. So even if the earth gives way, these economies that act that way, because that's your earth that these economies that have brought up the man-made plants and you live for them and you exist for them and you want the products. Even if those things cease to be, and the mountains stumble, that means the big cities, are shaking back and forth into the depths of the sea, are left to just go back into the whole rest of the multitude of the Goyim, not knowing what to do. Even if its waters rage and foam, okay, waters refer also to the Goyim, the career of the workers of solutions. That's the Goyim. The Gimel is for the career, because it's for the foot. Foot is for the walking of the career. The career of the Vav, this Goyim, I believe is Gimel, and Vav, I believe, and is Jud and Mem. So the career that connects to the work of solutions. That's what Goyim means. Because that's what all the nations work. You got to go work, and they dedicated to the career of connecting to the work of solutions. They got to go work for a company to bring solutions to the company. That's what Goyim means, okay? And so even if the waters rage, if those people that work for the career, if they are going back and forth because they lose their job here, get another job there, and their future is uncertain, so they're raging and foaming, okay? And the mountains shake at its turbulence, and all the nations are shaking, and there says, so all of that, even if all of that happens, I'm not afraid. That's what I say. That doesn't affect me. So if you happen to be afraid when these things are happening, that means what? That the Alef Bet is not your tower, and it's not, your refuge. The Alef Bet is not your strength, and it's not your dwelling place. Therefore, all these things are affecting you. So God is bringing all of this to show you right now that you are not in Him. Otherwise, you will not be shaking right now. But those that are in Him are not affected by this hour. Okay? You understand that? We're not affected. Those that are in Him are not affected one bit by this hour. We're just sitting there and enjoying the show. How He runs everything. Because that's why I named this Hadabarim, HDTV 28, because in the book of Deuteronomy of Hadabarim 28 explains in 14 verses, the main 14 verses at the beginning, talks about all the blessings. And that's the numerical value of David, 14. Okay, that's my name. Numerical value of David, which means beloved. So in keeping the beloved mitzvahs, if you keep them in beloved's business and you treasure them and you do, and you do them, then that's 14 verses that explains all the blessings that are going to come to you. Okay, so that's 14 verses. Then the rest of them, because a total 68 verses in there in Davar 28. The other 54 verses, which was almost short of 2 verses to be 56, which means that will be 4 times 14. 14, 14, 14, 14 would have been 56. But in the other 54 verses that follow after chapter 14, after verse 14 in Deuteronomy 28, it comes all the curses that he's going to make sure that come upon the people that do not follow the Torah. And that was basically given, to the nation of Israel to understand that they were going to be facing those things. So if God spends a whole chapter of 68 verses to give you 14, which is the numerical value of David, to basically tell you, that in those 14 verses, in those 14 verses, that's how he's going to bless you. But then it spends, 54 verses after that describing all the curses, is because he wants you to pay attention to all the different things that he's doing to the people that are not the one trusting his economy of the Alef Bet, of the strong tower, of the strong refuge and shelter. So if you're not trusting that, so you will be able to see. But hardly anybody preaches from that. So therefore, everything that is happening, you think you assign it to a devil. You assign it to this is bad. And if it's good, you assign it to God. No, God runs everything. He runs the blessings with the first 14 verses, and he runs all the curses in the rest of the 54 verses. In chapter 20, and that's why it's called this. It's a high HD TV. Davarim, Torah volts. Volts stands for value optimized legal tender surplus. Because if you are in the economy of the alphabet, you are your own money. Because it's the time that you invest in it, the time you see that you get to enjoy more and more of the presence and the mindset of your Maker, and nothing bothers you. Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. You are not offended by anything. You're not made afraid by anything. Nothing of that has any effect upon you, like I said. But if you are not there, it's because, obviously, yes, that's what it's showing. So it's showing that you're not in your, in your Garden of Eden. And you are being expelled. And so you are facing the fires right now. You cannot get back into the Garden of Eden because you do not know the Torah. You do not have a teacher that has guided you and have brought you into the mindset of your Maker, so you will be at ease and at peace. Okay? So what you're facing right now, you're facing the fires. God's burning economy is down. There's no strength anywhere. People cannot respond. People have been brought to silence, by all their stupidity. The leaders are doing whatever they want and nobody seems to respond. They seem to be getting away with murder, people cheating left and right, and then you'll find out, that at the end, as people are cheating and ready to get what they want, they're already dead. They're already discarded. They have nothing good to offer. So why worry? They have nothing good to offer. All they're going to do is bring more dead, But if you are not in that economy, you will not have been affected up until now by what is going on, My lifestyle, if people implement my lifestyle, if only 10% of the nation implement my lifestyle, they will cause such a disruption in the economy because we will not, be depending on hardly anything. So I don't, I don't see doctors, so I don't visit doctors. I don't get vaccines. I don't buy medications. I don't do all these things. I don't drink sodas. I hardly have anything with wheat on it. Just maybe on a weekend when somebody has a sandwich or something to give me, I can eat something. But overall and all, I do a lot of habits that will bankrupt a lot of industries. So imagine it's only like 50% of the people. A lot of these industries will go under because they will have to just remake everything in a different way. And so That's why I call myself the COVID-19-Man, because my lifestyle is more dangerous than the virus. If people were to adopt my lifestyle, it will destroy economies left and right. Because I don't depend, on anything that these economies have to offer, or their advice, or anything whatsoever. That's why I'm not affected by their diseases, because their diseases are designed by the FDA food pyramid. It's all designed to make you weak, because it's a conflict of interest that the same company that controls your food controls your drugs. FDA, Food and Drug Administration. That's a conflict of interest right there. They shouldn't be doing the same thing. That means that they're going to tell you what you should eat to make you weak enough so that you will get the drug also. And they have it, all in the same little place. So easy, easy does it. So they all control it. But when you do not follow their advice, you are freed, because you are in the Alef Bet. You are in your strong tower, in your refuge and strength, like it says in this verse. And now, so all these things may happen in verse 4. Now, verse 4 here says, there is a river whose streams gladden the city of God. Okay? It's verse 5, I believe, is in, verse 5 will be in the King James, but verse 4 here is in Complete Jewish Bible. It says, there is a river whose streams gladden or make the city of God very happy. So, there is a river whose streams gladden the city of God, the holy habitation of Elyon. That means Elohim. God is in the city. It will not be moved. Why? When daybreak comes, God will help it. Nations were in turmoil, kingdoms were moved, his voice thundered forth, and the earth melted away. Okay, but let me get to this verses 5 and 6. Let me read this again, because you got to wonder, where is the city he's talking about? Where? All right? Because there is a river whose streams gladden the city of God. And so there's a river that makes the city of God very glad. The holy, and it's the holy habitation of Elohim. And God is in the city. It will not be moved. When daybreak comes, God will help it. So this is all being run as a city. It's a city where God dwells, okay? Remember what I told you about the other passage that I was reading, we have been reading this week, on Jeremiah chapter 1, okay? In Jeremiah chapter 1, what do we have in there? In Jeremiah chapter 1, we have... in Jeremiah chapter 1, we have, the account of how he was called from his mom's womb. He was set aside. And at the end, God told him, behold, I have made thee this day, a fortified city, an iron pillar, and a bronze wall. He had made him because he had prepared the Davar. God had prepared a Davar, a word, by which he was going to confront the nations from the time of Jeremiah until the end, until the coming of the Messiah. Because that book of Jeremiah was for the prophecy all the way until the end. Because I don't know if you know this, but the prophets were the newscasters in the time of the Bible time at the beginning. A lot of the rabbis said that there was about 1.2 million prophets during the time of the prophets, or 1.2 million. Those are the broadcasters that God used to bring his news, or to bring people back to the Torah. They were there and were pointing out, you have walked away, come back, do shuvah, get back, repent. And also, so there's about 1.2 million prophets that were used. And they will go and preach about the times and the sins that were happening, and this was going to happen if they did not repent. And so God, that was his broadcasting system. Okay, but of those, the only ones that were kept in the Tanakh are the ones that prophesied beyond their time. The prophecies beyond or what applied to the time in which they were living, but applied to all the way to the end, to the time of the Mashiach coming and all of that. So those were the ones that were preserved as the Tanakh, because they have essential prophecies that had not been fulfilled during their time, but they were going to be fulfilled at a later time. So those were preserved. but there was a total of about 1.2 million prophets, you know, in Israel at the time. Now they don't believe it that there are any more prophets. The Jews don't believe there are any more prophets, you know, even though the Christians believe that there are people with the gift of prophecies and all that. But that goes against the Tanakh. They believe that there's no more of that. God speaks through the Torah now. You have to dig yourself into there and get it, get everything from there. Okay, so you have to be very studious student. You got to keep it and treasure it. And so in any case, so of this we have Jeremiah. And so Jeremiah, God told him what he was going to do. He was going to make him a fortified city. So that the bar, when it's in you and you have all the understanding that God is giving you about himself, you know, what that builds inside of you, inside of your soul, it builds a whole universe of the presence of, you know, of Yud-Heh-Vav, of the presence of the Alef Bet. And that's all you're concerned with. That's all you're preoccupied with. That's all you're connecting day and night. His word with the other word from his verse. That's what my life is all about. See, and no matter the circumstances outside of me, that hasn't affected my way of thinking, my way of behaving. You know, as a matter of fact, this whole year that just went by, 2020, has been the best year of developing in my life. I have gotten more in depth into the Torah. I have been able to create this channel, you know, from the ground up. You know, I was doing a Mickey Mouse at the beginning, you know, using different little applications and programs, and now I'm with the OBS. You know, this program that allowed me to share everything with you, and I was able to get different scenarios so I can put backgrounds as different broadcasting platforms to send you from, like the backgrounds and everything. So I can do all of that now. So I can run a whole TV channel. I create my own commercials, my own, you know, my own music, my everything. So I do everything with the channel. So this has been a year of great development for me. You know, I cannot complain. I mean, I'm at the height of my existence with the Alef Bet, being useful to proclaim his word on all kinds of platforms. I'm ready to go at any situation, you know, be able to proclaim it. You know, I'm ready to speak to CEOs, CFOs, and any category of people, you know, to bring him with things that do sense making, because I have a lot of things in the Torah that have a lot of sense making for this hour. Okay, when everybody has, you know, all the speakers of sense making, they seem to be silenced right now, because I used to watch all these people, you know, Daniel Smachtenberger, you know, these people, wisdom warriors and all that. They're not saying too much now. You know, they're trying to make sense of everything, and they're called the kings of sense making or wisdom. Sense making is the word for wisdom in our modern time, but the sense makers are not able to make sense of what's going on because they're not in the Torah. You know, but the Torah makes sense of everything. So it doesn't, you know, so when you have a city, that means you are in the Davar. You are that fortified city, okay? And there are the river, you know, the waters, you know, the waters are solutions. And what are those solutions? The Torah, the Alef Bet. And you're full of solutions. It's a river that gladdens the city of God. So you're surrounded by the alphabet. You can always figure things out. You can even you have suggestions of what things can be done if somebody asks you. You know, you have an answer for everything, because you are in the Davar, you are in the city of God, you are in the Bet HaMikdash, because that Davar is only dedicated to the mindset of the Maker. So you are the Bet HaMikdash, which is the Davar that's only dedicated to the economy of the alphabet, and that's where you dwell. And they are filled with the solutions, because the Torah is where you emerge and submerge, and that river runs through that city, and it gladdens the city of God, because you have made yourself the dwelling place of God when you have taken upon yourself the Alef Bet, my friend. And so that's what this verse is talking about. That made the city that made Jeremiah, you know, in verses 118, you know, I have made it this day a fortified city, a defense, a city that is, you know, a tower, a fortress. I have made thee a fortress, a city that is a fortress. That's what I was trying to say. A defense, a fortified city, an iron pillar. You can hold things up. You'll be able to hold things up, you know, and a brazen wall. That means impenetrable. The world cannot penetrate you. The world has no effect, you know. People throw their lasers at you. All this, you know, bombardment of the bad news that are affecting everybody and everybody. Every news that they hear, man, what am I going to do? You know, everything is going under and everything is affected. they bounce from you, you know, they really have no effect upon you. They barely tickle you, oh, you know, but they have not affected that, you know, because you can see what God is doing. It's your Father who's running the whole show. You know, when your Father is the movie producer, the director, and everything, it doesn't matter if he's running a horror movie, you know, you are happy that he's behind the scenes and he's going to get all the credit for that. You know, he's going to get an Oscar and all everything. That's what God is getting from all of this. He's going to get recognition. He's getting all of that because he's running everything. And his children are happy to see him do his work. It's magnificent at it. It's this whole thing that you're seeing right now is a display of right here. Chapter 28 is taking place of Davar. Those that are following his commandments, that are treasuring him, those are being kept in the blessings. They don't get sick. They don't depend on this economy. You know, they have a job. They're busy working. They're busy representing him. They have no problem whatsoever. They are not affected by this. But those that are not in the Torah, that's not their citadel, that's not their dwelling place, that's not the universe for their soul, man, those are living. So, you know, if you are keeping Torah, you are living the management of the first 14 verses of the Davar in 28. Okay? The first 14 verses are being enforced to you because you are a worker, you know, of the Alef Bet. You are in his mindset. Then you get all the fringe benefits. Okay? That means production in what you do, production in work in the fruit of your body, production in the fruit of your hands. Everything is being manifested. You have plenty to do. You have, like I do. I have just too much to do. You know, I can choose for so many things to do. I'm so busy. You know, and so God, because you're working with the alphabet, so you have all the fringe benefits available. You know, if you're not working with the alphabet, all the fringe benefits are being taken away from you. You don't have help. You are depressed. You feel anguish. You feel anxiety. You know, you have sicknesses. You have diabetes. You have high blood pressure. You have cancer. You have all these things. Because it says there, all these diseases, and even the ones that I'm not mentioned, even those that are going to come up, you are going to have them. Read Davar 28. I'm going to be reading that for the next time, because we're going to get more in depth to that. But the whole chapter 28 is taking place here, and they're here now. God is doing the first 14 verses of blessings for those that treasure the Torah, and the Torah has become the universe of their soul. And the rest that don't do that, he's doing from verses 15 all the way to 68, he's doing that for you. So you need to go look into that and see which part of that God is doing for you. Because if you're not keeping the Torah, he's doing the rest of it, of all the curses. Those are all the curses that he's delightful to do if you do not delight in his Torah, as he's delightful to do all the blessings for those that delight in his Torah. He takes great delight in doing both of them. He says right there, just as I was glad to bless you, I will be glad to curse you and do these things for you. You know, that's all the things because God runs the whole show. And at the end, it's because he made us for himself. And we walk away from the Alef Bet, and then we acquire a mindset that goes against, you know, the keeping of the balance of the garden. So he has to proceed to destroy us right away because we become only consumers, not producers of anything. You know, so that's, as a consumer, that means you're just ready to devour the earth. Then therefore the Lord makes sure that if you're going to be a devourer of this earth, your days are going to be shortened. Because you're only here to inflict the earth because that's all you're happy to be like that. You know, so that's what it is. There's a river whose streams gladden the city of God. Let me go back to it. Let's see, God, the holy habitation of Elyon. God is in the city. It will not be moved. So you're in the Davar of God. It's not moved by the circumstances of the external mulectic garden, right? When daybreak comes, God will help it. God is the light that shines. When daybreak comes, it is him that is shining in you. Because when you are in the Davar, you're in the Torah, you're always in the light of his presence, in the light of his understanding. Okay? And so that's why you enter. You enter into that place that people think they're going to have. You enter into that when you have made the Alef Bet on the Torah, you know, the universe for your soul. That's where you reside. And so you are brand new. You're always in the mindset you're ready to procreate new ideas. Out of you, God can make a whole city. Out of you, God can make a whole economy. Because you are above all the rest of the world's economies that are mulectic. You know, and not protectric and directed only. Okay, so let me take you back to this verse. And And let's see, we can sing this heaven on earth now. Now going to make more sense, right? All right, so let's see here. You may trust the mountain 'cause it's tall, yet in little bar is my only all. I'm not bound to look at what you see, for in little bar I am now his way. Heaven and earth, whom God has made, now they'll need to see the Davar in the display their magnitude. Heaven and earth, whom God has made, now they'll need to see the Davar in the display their magnitude. So a brand to please you now competes, yet in little bar, it'll hit the waves. Why should I look at what others see when it's little bar who now fashions me? Heaven and earth, whom God has made, now they'll need to see the Davar in the display their magnitude. Heaven and earth, whom God has made, now they'll need to see the Davar in the display their You see, you may trust the mountain. I mean, you may trust an economy, a fortified empire that has risen to the top because it looks like it has a sheep, a status, right? Because it's tall. Yet, in the Davar is my all in all, in the word of the Torah. That's the universe for my soul. I am not bound to look at what you see. See, you look at the news, you look at everything that's coming your way, you look at your circumstances, you look at your job, you look at your friends, and everybody's in despair. I'm not bound to look at that, but that's the only choice you have, because I have something else better to look at. You know, I'm here to look at the city of God, that Davar that's fortified, that Bet HaMikdash, that temple of the Lord that has been dedicated to his mindset. That's where I dwell. And the solutions of the Torah just flowing every morning, every night, at all times, you know, and he rises up like the sunlight there upon that city, and it's not affected. I'm in, you know, in my Garden of Eden already, okay, in my place of delight, you know, and that's one thing that that I wanted to share also the other day with you guys. You know, there's an expression that people have that I like you to think of it right now. I'm going to make a whole teaching on this, but the world says, you know, that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Okay, you heard that expression before, you know, that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You know, it's according. The one that is seeing it is the one can detect, you know, what the beauty is. Okay, so the eye that sees it, the one that determines what something is beautiful. So beauty is in the eye of the beholder, or the one that's watching. So I have something about or heaven or paradise. So let me see if I remember how I wrote it. So yes, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Paradise is in what the heart loves the most. Let me repeat that. As beauty is in the eye of the beholder, paradise or heaven is in what the heart loves the most. Well, I want to repeat it a third time because this is very deep stuff that you can learn. As beauty is in the eye of the beholder, paradise or heaven is in what the heart loves the most. Because that's what people do, you know. When they get to find something that they hold, give a great value and esteem, but it's hard to find, or they thought that they will never find it, you know. But finally, they come and to find something, and it's in a great abundance of something that they love. What's the first thing they say? Man, I must die and gone to heaven. You know, that's the expression they say when they find something that they consider so valuable, and they have access to something that they thought they were never going to find in this world. You know, so usually there's a song about, I think, Brian Adams or something, I call Thought I'd Die and Go to Heaven. You know, and let me see, I think I did something here. Let me see if I can put it in here. Let me, I don't think no, I'm not going to do this because it's going to, but in any case, yes, let me get back to this. But what I'm saying is, so when you find something that you love the most and you find abundant access to it, you know, so you're going to have it all the time, because you thought you were never going to have it, but you wanted to have it, and now you find it in abundance. That's when you come with the expression, man, you know, I must die and go to heaven. You know, so people come up with that expression because just like beauty is in the eye of the beholder, paradise or heaven is in what the heart loves the most. So when your soul finally finds that thing that you love the most, you know, this, like you die and gone to heaven. I'm saying this because as in my pilgrimage to understanding the mindset of God, to understand the way that He thinks, because that was my concern. I wanted to get to know how does God think, how he feels, right? And so when I started with Christianity, I was really digging into it. I mean, I was attracted to Christianity because of the book of John, right? The book of John, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word became God, and you know, and through it, everything was done. And all of that goes back to when I was a child, you know. Was a child of 8. I guess I'm going to tell you the story, how it all began with me. When I was a child of 8, 8 years old, I think I was in the 3rd grade, and Escuela Dolores Bedoya de Molina, that was back in Guatemala, in Puerto Barrios, in the city of the Davar, you know, the name I told you, explain what Puerto Barrios means, the Alef Bet and the T.O.R.A.H. So when I was in that city, I have gone to, there was a place called Bananera, and that's where I was going to a school there. But during the recess time, you know, the kids, when you go out on recess, they like to play sometimes, you know, but they want to take the lead on whose hero they're going to be, who's superhero. Oh, I'm going to be Superman today. I'm going to be Batman today. I'm going to be Spider-Man. I'm going to be Aquaman. All these things. And then they compare their powers to each other, and the one that say, you know, what power you had toward this would like to be the winner, you know, in the heroes that you chose. So that's a little silly game that people will play. You know, little kids my age were playing, you know, when we go on the recess. And but I don't know if you remember, I also had told you a story before how my parents had fooled me to believing in Santa Claus. And I had gone to school and I had told kids that Santa Claus was real, and then they all laughed at me and made fun of me. And so I had to come home and confront my parents if Santa Claus was real. And they told me that they were the ones doing the stuff, right? So I got upset about that. But it was good that that happened to me at an early age, because then I realized, you know, they had me fooled for many years until I went to the first year of school that I found out, and I was embarrassed and everything. But I found out, oh, it's interesting. So if your parents can lie to you, then anybody can lie to you. So that's something that was established early in life. So I'm not disappointed when people have lied to me, or even religions have not lived up to their codes, because my first parents were the first one to lie to me, just to tell me an innocent story of this man that gives gifts, you know. And so, you know, so in any case, but that innocent story, I had gone to defend the validity of his existence, you know, in school the first day that I went there, because the teacher asked to break the ice. He asked, what do you guys get for Christmas, you know, because our school year started in Guatemala in January. And I used to say, oh, Santa Claus brought me this and brought me that. And then all the kids began to laugh, you know. And I was just trying to break the ice. I was just very talkative, you know, at that time, you know, I mean, as I felt, you know, I was kind of shy with strangers, and I would stutter with some strangers at the beginning. I remember when it was with the kids that I like or something like that, I didn't feel inhibited, I would say something. I remember I said that, and the kids began to laugh at me. And then later on, some of the kids explained to me in recess that, you know, Santa Claus were my parents and everything. So I confronted my parents, and to make story short, so they, you know, so I found that the parents lied to you. But that really, I was really ready to defend Santa, you know, because the story my parents had told me, you know. In any case, back in when I was 8 years old, and I was already in the 3rd grade, so I knew that other people just made stuff, and I knew that all these superheroes were fiction, you know, fictional characters made by somebody, and they made comics and all that. So I was aware of that. So, but in all these games, I was thinking, I need to invent a superhero that can never be defeated and will always be the winner when I play this game, you know, with these kids. So I was just thinking, you know, I'm a little 8 years old, just thinking, I gotta come up with a superhero that nobody can defeat, you know. And so I thought of something one day, you know. And then so when the recess came, I went out with the kids, you know. And the kids were saying, okay, I'm gonna be Superman today. I'm gonna be, you know, Batman, or, you know, all these things. And then I told them, I'm going to be Palabra Man, which we're saying I'm going to be the Word Man, okay? Because I'm using Palabra is word. Or if I want to say Hebrew now, that I know Hebrew, I want to be the Davar Man. And then they say, what the heck is that? And that's not a comic. And I said, no, that's the hero that I'm choosing to be. Okay, but what are the powers of the Davar Man, or the Word Man? Then I told them, well, the Word Man is the one that makes all the words in the world, you know? He's the one that creates all the worlds in all the languages. And so I told him, so in order for you to be anything, you have to borrow from him. You have to borrow from his words, and that's how you can become something. So whatever you guys want to be, you have borrowed from me, because I am the Word Man. And therefore you have to depend on me. You know. That was my logic of thinking, you know, so that if I make myself a hero that everybody needs to depend on, then nobody can defeat me. You know, that's my little logic as an 8-year-old that I thought, you know. And then all the other kids began to say, man, that's not fair. That's not even a real one. But I told them, well, your superheroes, Batman, Spider-Man, none of those are real either. You know, somebody made them up. So I make up this one. And this is my superhero. And you cannot change my mind about that. And they say, hey, you know, you're a cheater, man. You can't play with us. So the kids did not want me to play with them anymore, because I would always be the Davar Man, the Word Man. And I just came up with that. And I knew that was a fake thing. I wasn't really the Davar Man. You know what I'm saying? I was just making that up so that I would be a winner in that game of life, because everybody was bringing their own fiction character, right? All the kids were winning and presenting their own powers. So I just made up my own fiction character. And I knew I wasn't thinking that I was the real Davar Man, you know, but just to win the game with the kids and to be on top, I came up with that idea. And so I thought I was a cheater because I was inventing something. I was not playing, you know, I was playing outside of the box. They wanted me to stick to the superheroes that they were familiar with from TV and from everything. No, I made my own one. And I thought, well, this one is better than all the other ones, you know, because you're going to believe in something that other people made. I'm going to make up my own one, and it's going to be more powerful than yours, you know. And so that caused me, for him not to want to play. So I became like a pariah. They didn't want to invite me to the group anymore, because I would always be winning with that story of mine, right? So that has been my lifestyle, you know. So now that I'm here now, you know, now that I come to a full circle around, so when I went to Christianity and in 1979, you know, I joined with a group called Campus Crusade for Christ. Bill Bright was the leader of that group. I was going to USC. It was around March of 1979. You know, I was 19 years old. at the time. Okay? So when I was 19, you know, that's when I got serious into that. Somebody invited me and they shared with me like the 4 spiritual laws. I remember that. So a guy named David Eicher. There was the first guy that talked to me, and there was another guy, Steve, I forgot the last name. But David Eicher, he's the one that talked to me about that. And then he told me that they had a little group that they met together. And then he wanted me to go there, and I told him, look, man, I had gone to this school in Guatemala, evangelical school, that they're pretty much like Pentecostal in the sense that when they invite you, they expect you to lay their hands on you, and you have to speak in tongues, you know. You know, I went to excursiones to Mount Zion, like retreats, youth retreats to Monte Sion. They had it over there, and then they will lay hands, and then people will come and they start speaking in tongues, and that was a sign that you were filled with the Spirit. But I never would speak in tongues, you know. And so I went over all the time that they gave an invitation. I never speak in tongues. So when I left Guatemala and I came over here, I forgot about that. You know, I said, I'm not going to get into that stuff anymore. I guess I developed a little complex because I was in that school, in that boarding school. None of the kids in there made me feel inadequate or made me feel like cast out. But I felt, because of my color, my skin, maybe God did not wanted black people, because there were only about 2 black people in that school. And I was one of them, right? So I had a little complex inside of me that maybe God didn't want to deal with the black people, you know, for that because of that experience. But when I went to USC, that David Eicher explained to me, no, it's just faith. You got to have faith. You got to believe that the Word of God is true. Well, I believe that. I believe that the Word of God is true. But that's all, man. That's all it takes, you know. So then he took me to the group, and that's how it started with them. And so I got into Christianity. But through that lessons, they began to read in one of their sessions, John 1:1, you know. And he began to say, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then that just connected with me. I say, wow, that's what I'm talking about, you know, in my head. That's what I was saying to those kids that didn't understand me. That if you are the Word, man, you run everything, you know. And so I like that. I like that John 1:1 started with that, and I connected with that. And that's why I like, in Christianity, I like, above all the other books, I almost memorized the book of John. I memorized some of the epistles of John. You know, I had gotten into memorizing some of the second epistle of the second Peter. I memorized the book of Jude. You know, and I was memorizing a lot of different little books, you know, in Christianity, you know. But there wasn't that in-depth understanding that I have gotten now that I'm in the Hebrew and in the Torah, you know, an understanding, you know, that the Torah is it, you know, the Torah is the original deal, you know, and that the Davar is the word of Elohim, the word of Yud-He-Vav, okay, and that the Davar of Yud-He-Vav did not need to become flesh. He just needed to have us listen to it, okay. Because as we listen to it, we incorporate it into our soul. And then in this soul of ours, and in this flesh of ours, that's where the Yud-He-Vav will reside. That'll become his habitation of Elohim. Okay? So, it's all clear to me now, you know. So, now that I'm in the Torah, and now that I have found the meaning of the alphabet, guess what? It's like I died and gone to heaven. That's how I look at it. I die and gone to heaven because so much of this is so much of the understanding. I can connect to everything I can make sense of. You know, people ask me questions and I can come up with something because I can connect things. You know, there's a lot of connectedness in the Torah that allows you to bring meaning to everything in your life, to everything that you do and everything that is happening. You nothing dissuades you, nothing brings you down. You know, great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. And so that's why I say, as beauty is in the eye of the beholder, heaven or paradise in what the heart loves the most. So I have fallen in love with the word, and I thought the best way to guard the Davar, to guard the word, you know, what will be the best way to do it? And that's when I found the Torah, I found the universe of that economy. I had to sustain a Davar in a solid fashion that is unbreakable, and it's not torn to pieces by anything. And that is the original Davar, or the Bet HaMikdash, how the Davar was dedicated to the mindset of God. Our God, through the Torah, has brought me back to there. And my friends, I can truly tell you that I am in heaven. This is my paradise. Because just as beauty is in the eye of the beholder, paradise or heaven is in what the heart loves the most. So I can truly say I've died and gone to heaven now that I'm in the Torah, now that I'm in the Alef Bet, you know. And so going back to this, I'm going to take you back to the psalm here that we're reading. So when I take you back to this psalm here, therefore, you know, and then we're looking, says, there's a river whose streams gladden the city of God, the holy habitation of Elohim. God is in the city. It will not be moved. You should match this to what Jeremiah 1:18, how he is the city, how he's a fortified city. Jeremiah is a fortified city, you know, in the Davar of God. This, it will not be moved. Verse, let me go all the way up. 7. Okay. Nations were in turmoil. That's what's happening, you know, in the external world. That also, you know, he's running. He's the director and producer of all that. Nations were in turmoil. Kingdoms were moved. So that Davar is not moved, right? But the nations, the retarded garden, they come and go. A nation rises for a season, 200 years later it goes under. Another nation rises and 200 years later or less it goes under, and so on. Back and forth. So nations were in turmoil, kingdoms were moved. His voice thundered forth, and the earth melted away. So all these man-made plans that grow from these economies, they have their height of glory, their time, and then they go under. Because, you know, they're not in the economy of the revelation of the Alef Bet. So, verse 8 says, Adonai Zabot, or the Lord of hosts, is with us. Our fortress, a strong tower, right? The God of Jacob. Come and see the works of Adonai. That's of Yud-Heh-Vav. Come and see the works, the astounding deeds he has done on the earth. Because he's run the earth. You got to go to Hadavarim, chapter 28, and see how he is running it. And he is magnificently running. You will understand when you read it. It said, and come and see the works of Adonai, the astounding deeds he has done on the earth. To the ends of the earth, he makes wars cease. He breaks the bow, snaps the spear, burns the shields in the fire. Okay? Because if you're in the Torah, this is what he has done for you already. Because for me, all these things that are causing a great habitation and a great turmoil and turbulence on the world right now, those already burn up in me. They have no entrance into my soul. Okay? All those things, all those wars that the people are going on, the wardectic wars that are going to the Gog and Magog, means the roof, the war of the satellites that are on the roof of the earth, you know, sending all this, bombarding us with all their news, you know, of their made-believe, you know, broadcasting and narratives that they're trying to have you believe and adopt as your new reality. Those have no effect whatsoever, okay? Because you are in the universe of your soul. So those things have been burned up to me already. It's just like, you know, they have no effect on me. But it says here, desist and learn that I am God. In the King James it says, be still and know that I am God. But I'm telling you here in the verse 10 in the complete Jewish, because it says desist. Cease and desist. Cease is an order. I'm giving you the order from on high to cease and desist from trying to make sense of things your own way. Just admit it. Your creed and your theologies and your economies have failed. You cannot make sense of it. All these things have come upon the world, and they have made you afraid. And that's one of the tests. If you're in the Torah, nothing will make you afraid. And if truly something has made you afraid at this time, whether it be the loss of your job, the loss of this, whatever, if there's something that has made you afraid, that's the litmus test that you are not in the original economy, you know, for which your soul was created. You know, and this is what this hour has come. This hour has come, this hour to test you, you know, to see how you have forsaken your true habitation, you know, of the Torah, and now you're dwelling where the rest of the people are, and you are being made afraid. So that's what it is. So desist and learn. So cease and desist from trying to make sense of the world, with the things that you have been instructed, with the things that the economists have told you to follow and pursue because you don't have the Torah to guide you, and learn. I like that what it says, and learn that I am God. I learn that T.R.u.t.h, is the governing operations director. God, G-O-D. He is the governing operations director. Supreme over the nations. Supreme over the earth. Adonai Tzavot says, the Lord of hosts is with us. Our fortress, the God of Jacob. So desist, cease and desist. And desist from trying to make things of it your way. From trying to figure out, from trying to come with the answers that you have, and hoping that something is going to come out of the heavens to rescue you. You can be in the heaven, in the paradise, if what you had desire was for the body of confession, for the body of revelation. If that was your desire in your economy, if you have found that the greatest asset that has been given to mankind is the alphabet, because with the alphabet he's been able to construct everything that has ever been made upon the face of the earth. So therefore the word, the Davar, is the greatest treasure that mankind has. So if you find something that will teach you to have a Davar that is indestructible, my friends, you have died and gone to heaven. Because if that's what you make your economy, that's what happened in my case. I wanted to have the Davar that was solid, fortified, unbreakable. And when I find the Torah, guess what? I die and gone to heaven. I found that something that I love the most in the great abundance, that is not ending anytime soon, and it's not affected by the retarded mulectic garden, the mule, the materialistic undertakings leading everybody at this hour, the mule, materialistic undertakings leading earth. It's not affected by that, because the mule cannot procreate. But when you are, that's why I call this economy of the retarded garden the mule. But when you are in the Torah, you get to ride the mule. The mule doesn't ride you. Like the donkey that is coming into office tomorrow is not riding me, and he will never ride you if you're in the Torah. You will get to ride the mule. You will get to ride the donkey. Okay, so you're not afraid of the donkey. You're not afraid of the mulectic garden. You'll get to ride it, because when you are in the Torah, you are crowned with the wisdom, with the reshit, the female head, which is the wisdom. To whom, because wisdom is the principal thing, he says in Proverbs by Solomon. So wisdom is the principal thing, and the principal thing is reshit, the word reshit, bereshit, which is the head of the female head. So you are in the wisdom of God. You are crowned with wisdom. You are king, because this world does not affect you. You can tell it how to improve things, but it cannot say anything to improve your life, because your life is already better than all of them, with the way that you have followed the Torah and you have made the Torah the universe of your soul. So that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so let me see if I can end up with a song here, and I want to quickly gonna see here how I'm doing. And hey, Edgar, Rabbi there. All right. Rosa Crispin, hello. Okay, some of you made it. All right. All right, so it's good to see you. Okay. All right, so I've just put the thing, so some of you were able to see. I'm glad. All right, good to have you. Bear Fruit, you're not here. You're Edgar Rabbi. And Rosa Crispin, good to have you. All right, I hope you guys join. All right, so that's what we're doing today. So we're learning a lot. We're learning to secure and be planted, in the Alef Bet, and that's the main thing to understand, right? So let me get you to the verses that we're singing here. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna get you to sing the last song here. Let me see. Okay. All right. Let me got it here. All right. No. Let me go forward here. Yeah. Stop here. The land of the free because of the brave. That's why America has lost its power for a long time, because we don't know how to be the land of the free. We have become the land of the fearful, and the home of the enslaved, And so I explained that. That's what got me banned from, because I share a solution, you know, what you can do to become, once again, the land of the free and the home of the brave. That's why they banned me from doing my videos over there, you know, on Facebook until the 23rd of January. But yeah, you know, we're going to keep on giving the word out. Because once you're in your paradise, you know, once you're in the Torah, nothing is going to affect you. But let me share a word here. Let me see what I want a song that we're going to sing here. I got to get to that. I'm sorry I have all these pictures in here. But this is a song that I think will be good to finish with that. I hope I have my voice that can keep me here. Let me see. Let everything that have breath praise the Lord. All right? Okay, because I like the audiences with the head above all. Let everything that got breath praise the Lord. Let everything that got breath praise the Lord. Let everything that got breath, let everything that got breath, oh, let everything that got breath praise the Lord. Again, let everything that got breath praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Let everything that got breath praise the Lord. Let everything that got breath, let everything that got breath, let everything that got breath praise the Lord. Stop. Praise ye the Lord, heaven honor. Praise ye the Lord, the heaven honor. Praise ye the Lord. Praise Adonai. 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 Beginning. Let everything that have breath praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Let everything that have breath praise the Lord. Let everything that have breath, let everything that have breath, oh, let everything that have breath, Adonai. Praise ye the Lord. Praise Adonai. Praise ye the Lord. Okay, we got that done. Let me see here. All right, so I see some people. I'm glad you were able to make it. All right. Okay, so an hour and 40 minutes. Oh, it's a long one. But it was worth it. I wanted to share all this with you guys. You know, make sure that you establish, you know, and don't let the times, you know, that we live in, you know, stress you out. Because if you make Torah the universe of your soul, you are ready because you're in the mindset of the maker. All right? So I'm going to read the whole thing right now non-stop. All right? So let me take it and I close with that. God is our refuge and strength and ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we are unafraid. Even if the earth give way, even if the mountains tumble into the depths of the sea, even if the waters rage and foam and mountains shake at its turbulence, then there is a river whose streams gladden the city of God, the holy city of Elion. God is in the city. It will not be moved. When daybreak comes, God will help it. Nations were in turmoil. Kingdoms were moved. His voice thundered forth, and the earth melted away. Adonai Tzva'ot, that's the Lord of hosts, is with us. Our fortress, the God of Jacob. Come and see the works of Adonai, the astounding deeds he has done on the earth. To the ends of the earth, he makes war cease. He breaks the bow, snaps the spear, burns the shields in the fire. Desist, cease and desist, and learn that I am God, says, Adonai, supreme over the nations, supreme over the earth. He is the producer and director of everything that he has done. He runs the whole show. Adonai Tzva'ot, the Lord of hosts is with us, our fortress, our strong tower, the God of Jacob, the Alef Bet, the powerhouse, where we happen to be, word technic. All right? And so, let me close. I think I have a song here set up for you guys. I hope it's the right one. Let me see. Okay. It's not there. So where did I put it? I have saved the song here. Oh, I forgot to put it in. I'm so sorry. I forgot to put the song in. Well, never mind. I was supposed to put the song here to finish, but I forgot to load it up. Let me see. I could probably load it up right now while I'm talking here and finish with that song. Give me a minute here. I'm going to bring it in as I'm doing this with you right now. I'm going to bring this media source and bring it in here. Give me a second. I'm going to add this song right now. All right. It's called RSV. All right. Browse. I'll look for it right now. It's hanging there. This is a good song. It will be good to finish with this for today. This is my national anthem to the Torah that I come up with. Let me put it in here. So we'll close with this song. Just hang in there, my friends. It's gonna be good. Yes, this is the one. All right. think I got it. Okay, here we go. RSVP. Open. Okay, hold on a second. It's not letting me finish. I'm gonna try one more time. RSVP, come on. RSVP. RSPS, no, not RSVP, RSPS. RSP. Alright, here we go. And it's not letting me do this. So sorry. I'm just gonna cancel it. Alright. Okay, here we go. I'm in. Red Sea parting, Red Sea parting. You maker of all leaders that guide the nations, making stars that lead us in our imaginations and our confessions. Your hidden mystery I see. In plain sight you have done it all. Within you are the best done. All the workings showing sway elusive. His splendor. And your milvado is done at all in silence. His eye can guide us. Distant